Hello and welcome to Telegraph Studios. I'm Alistair Greener and today we're discussing the importance of engineers in our world today. And joining me is Philippa Oldham from the Institution of Mechanical Engineers. Good morning.
Good morning.
So what are the burning issues that you feel only engineers can really solve?
Well, it's communicated by the United Nations that by 2075 the population is going to be 9.6 billion. So all those people, it's an additional 3 billion mouths to feed. So we need to make sure that A, they've got the food, B, they've got the water, and that they've got a nice environment to live. So it's down to engineers to work with the resources that are available to deliver those solutions.
So is this the century of the engineer?
It's a century of innovation, and we are trying to make sure that we're working with the resources that we've got to deliver the right solutions. This could be anything from helping put an end to premature infant mortality, or looking at how we can help if a natural disaster occurs, get the rescue units there as quickly as possible and to the worst affected areas. That's being done by British engineers working on satellites, and so it's making sure that it's not always looking at the light bulb moments, but also looking at what we've got in existence and reusing those raw materials. Another example could be from the automotive sector. We're looking at energy storage, and electric vehicles are very popular and in the media a lot at the moment. They use lithium. That's a rare earth material, so engineers need to know how to use it first time round, but also how to re-extract it and reuse it again and again to make sure that we have that material available.
So you've mentioned the automotive industry, but what are the other burning issues that can't really be solved without the help of engineers?
Climate change is the one that comes to the forefront, slightly gone out of the public eye at the moment. But one of the things engineers are trying to do is help mitigate against these factors and mitigate, in fact, against natural disasters. A prime example being UK engineers working with satellites. They are now looking at, if there have been a natural disaster, where the worst hit areas are. This was done, say, with the tsunami in Japan, and they were able to tell the rescue workers where the worst places were, so they could immediately go to those areas and help see if there are any survivors.
So we know the problems, and we know it's the role of engineers to solve these problems, so what's stopping them?
Talent retention is a big problem for the industry, attracting people into the profession. It's estimated by the Warwick Institute in some research that they did that we need 1.6 million more engineers between the years of 2012 and 2022. Current output or current supply, looking across the range, so technicians, apprentices and engineers, is only 100,000 a year.
So given that shortfall and given the amount of engineers you're going to need, as you said, over the next decade, what's stopping people going into that industry? Why aren't they really excited about being involved in engineering?
It's an understanding of what engineering is and what the profession can offer. There's very much a preconception that it's potentially a dirty industry, which is just wrong. One of the things that we did at the institution is we commissioned some research, and it found that 90% of people found that careers advice was inadequate, and actually engineering isn't being put forward as a profession to students.
So you say that you commissioned this research, but what are you actually doing to encourage more students to go into engineering?
So we help engineers and engineering firms, so large industries or small industries, work with schools within their area to make sure that they can go in and have a look round. But it's not just about the pupils, it's about the teachers. They need to understand what engineering is and actually put it into the education system that we have, making sure that it's in that actually I would love to learn work on planes, or I would love to work on helping prevent premature deaths by working in the healthcare industry, and these are all things that an engineering profession can provide.
So if you bring these new engineers into the industry, what effect are they having or going to have on existing engineers, the existing generation?
One of the things that's very important is the sharing of knowledge. It's about learning from one another, and that's something we try and do at the institution. We try and get engineers from the different sectors to work together to share best practice. So a lot of the times a solution or an innovation that occurs within the aerospace industry will have some use in the powertrain industry or the healthcare industry. It's about making sure they're there and make sure they're up to date with what the new technologies are. There's been a lot of hype around the 3D printing, additive manufacturing, big data. Well, how do you make sure that you're using that in an effective and an efficient way, and being early adopters of it, making sure that we're providing the best solutions?
Now, you've mentioned a few of the different industries associated with engineering, especially things like aeronautics and so on. Those are industries which are changing rapidly and really, really fast. What can you do to ensure that engineers actually keep up with the fast-paced technological changes?
We need to be involved early. It's about talking to key decision makers, policy makers, making sure that engineers are there before decisions are made. We are solution problem solvers, and if we don't know what the problem is, we can't help solve it. So by getting us involved early, it means that we can work with the right skills and we can use that technology.
You talk about change, and we've discussed a lot about the challenges facing the engineering society, as it were. So it seems there's a lot of problems. So can you still be optimistic about the future?
I'm optimistic about the future. Engineers historically have proven that we hold the key to finding these solutions.
Well, let's hope that it is a bright future for engineers, and it's certainly been a fascinating insight into it. Philippa Oldham from the Institution of Mechanical Engineers, thank you very much.